It's December 15th, 2019. The last WWE pay-per-view of the decade of the 2010s. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by Matt Morgan and Raj Giri, here to talk about everything tonight. Matt, as a defining moment in WWE, closing out the decade, what did you think of tonight's pay-per-view?
I didn't know about all that.
Yeah.
Closing out the decade. I didn't think of it that way. I thought this was a good pay-per-view. I thought there was really good spots in this. A lot of good conclusions of matches. You knew that it wasn't brain surgery to predict the women were going to crush tonight's match.
Yeah.
Especially with Becky and Charlotte. The Kabuki Warriors were made even more, I thought. The Bray Wyatt stuff was excellent. Daniel Bryan, all that stuff was great. They did a good job of centering the show around the right people, I felt. The stuff with Roman Reigns, yeah, he finished the show technically, but nobody cared. Like, it didn't steal the limelight away from the people. This show should have been around.
That's interesting. I actually thought I was completely opposite. I thought the first two matches were good, and then I thought the pay-per-view kind of sucked.
You didn't like that main event match?
No, I thought it was sloppy as hell. I think Kyrie got concussed or something earlier on because she could not. She just didn't. She seemed off. Like Charlotte couldn't get her up for the power bomb. Like, yeah. You could see that Kyrie was something happened. I don't know if when she was throwing the chair and it hit her in the face. If she got.
They went through hell and back 7 different times during that match.
They worked their asses off, but it was
those things kill everything they did out there. The guys could not. I'm not bullshitting you. I couldn't do that. I'm telling you.
No. I mean, look, they
can take a bump on a ladder. It kills you. It injures you
for sure. I mean, no doubt they went through hell in that, but it was sloppy as hell. You got to watch it again.
Did you not hear the crowd change?
They were silent. I mean, they would.
Charlotte. No, on Becky and Charlotte, they booed them.
Yeah, they did boo them.
At the end because the job was done. Two young women were made tonight.
That was not the intent, though. The Kabuki Warriors are the heels.
That's why they won.
This was not a face turn for the Kabuki Warriors.
That's not what the definition of being made is. Being made could be heel, face, tweener. Doesn't matter what character you are. Being made means you just got elevated to the next level, and that's what the Kabuki Warriors were tonight.
Sure, but they were still the heels. I mean, Becky is your top star. And you have your fans booing her at the end. To me, that's the exactly opposite of what you're trying to do.
50%. 50. If you're just staying in your little Becky 2-belt box, then yes. But that they have an organization and a show to run. AKA, we have other stars we've got to get over. So we have somebody who's red hot right now who doesn't mean jack shit if she loses in a tag match because it's a tag match. It means more that a good tag team beats 2 single stars.
I agree that the Kabuki Warriors should have won here.
We got to be fair. We always get on them when we say the tag team division doesn't mean crap in that company. Well, here they took good care of them because let me tell you, if this was who are the 2 young girls that are from Australia were the first women's champions?
Iconics.
Because if it was them, they would have lost in 35 seconds to 2 singles, anybody's. And I thought they did a good job. And also, to be fair, they also booed Becky and Charlotte toward the end. Go back and watch.
Yeah.
From weak-ass chair shots as well. That did not help their cause at the end there.
Yeah, exactly. I felt like the fans weren't booing it because of the story in the match. The fans were booing because of the weak-ass chair shots and how sloppy it was.
Well, I agree.
I just thought Kyrie was sloppy. And just too light to be trying to put herself through a table on her own.
Yeah, I had tweeted that. I don't think she has the weight to. I mean, they tried, and I think they just fucked her up. Honestly.
Charlotte's bump. I was so pissed they didn't get that, you guys, off the top rope originally. When they powerbombed, when Asuka powerbombed Charlotte off the top rope through the table toward the end of that match. Mm-hmm. Again, another bump you could not pay me to take.
Yeah. Well, so I agree with Ernie Hubin, our chat room, who I actually went and looked up his name because he comments so much here.
Yeah, he does.
That
awesome.
The main event was a mess, but it was fun. It was a good match.
Dude, but did you not get, holy crap, maybe not so much out of Kyrie, but out of Asuka. Intensity, though, personified. Yeah.
I think at a certain point, though, it doesn't make sense, though, why they weren't wrapping it up sooner and trying to climb the ladder. I like the rope spot.
The rope spot was cool.
I was disappointed Becky didn't pull that at the end. I thought they could have gone one more with Becky doing it to Asuka. I thought that could have gone on a little longer.
With the rope?
Yeah, because at the end you saw Becky was in the corner. Asuka didn't take the rope with her, so the rope was still on the ladder. Becky could have done that to her. I thought that would have been a good justification to go maybe 3 more minutes in the match.
And at first I did not like Bray Wyatt being Bray Wyatt, but then I don't know. Kind of did.
Well, we'll talk about all that. So Matt, I have to ask, as someone who's had the experience, just give us the perspective on being on the receiving end of a table, going through a table, a ladder, and a chair. Which hurts the worst? What's the experience like?
Tore my pectoral when Gunner, of all people, took a ladder and flattened it out so it's coming at me the skinny way, not like widened, okay? And just simply drilled it into my chest, and I tore my pectoral off the bone. The table, I remember the first time I ever took one, I was kind of nervous about it, but my first one ever was taking a 3D through a table, and I found it to break my fall, if anything.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then from that moment on, I was like, okay, so tables are kind of, I don't want to say they're easy and put them down, but if they're in the ring and you take one, it's pretty easy.
Well, they've changed them too. Remember back in the day, there was that Harley race match with Hulk Hogan that pretty much ended his career. He did that headbutt to Hogan on that table, and it was like a solid wooden table that he broke through. And I think he had like 1 or 2 more matches after that, and he was done. But
I don't know this.
Yeah, they used to have those like really thick wooden tables back in the 80s. And then in the 90s, once they started making it a lot more common, they got the ones that you basically see today, the brown kind of
bingo hall tables.
Yeah.
Japan, the worst tables.
Right.
They're skinny as hell and they're thick as hell, and they don't really break as easily.
Yeah.
Those suck. But to answer your question, I would argue a chair shot to the head.
Oh, I would think that would be the worst. But all these people getting slammed on chairs, I mean, is that surface better?
I've never
or
been
worse?
slammed. I'm very lucky. I've never been slammed on a ladder, but every time I watch it, I'm like, how is their backs not like completely tearing?
There's always like little things, like every now and then there'll be a mic left behind and they get slammed on that. And you would just think, like, if you land wrong on that, it could really cause some damage. Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's go through the pre-show. Humberto Carrillo versus Andrade. I didn't watch this, Matt. I'm assuming you didn't watch this. Did you watch it, Rush?
I did. It was good. But you know what? Booking matters, and they hurt Humberto, and I just think it's going to take a while for fans to get into him now because they beat him so much right off the bat. That I think fans just, as soon as he comes out, they see him as a not necessarily a job guy, but not a superstar. And if he had won those early matches, maybe not Seth, but maybe he didn't lose like 5 straight to AJ. I think the reactions would be different. But it was a good match. They kept teasing Andrade. So Humberto beat Andrade, and they were teasing Andrade, splitting up with Zelina Vega again. I just think that's such a bad idea. I hope they don't do it.
So we go to the main card. We had the New Day versus the Revival in a ladder match for the SmackDown Tag Team titles.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Friggin' awesome.
I was going to say, Matt, for you, this was like Blue Chew, right? I mean, this was
I
like...
was in my head. Yes, this was friggin' awesome.
Yeah, this match was great. I mean, when this pay-per-view started off, I thought this was going to be one of those sleeper pay-per-views where it wasn't built well, but the matches are just really strong. And, I thought this and the next one I thought were really, really good.
I was surprised New Day won and retained here. I mean, with the Revival, I just feel like they need this big crowning moment of awesome, this victory.
The Revival I'm fans of the Revival, but they're not over realistically with the fans. You don't see fans caring that much when they come out. And I think part of it is because of how they've been booked. They're being humiliated for a while, then they're, with the Usos, with the icy hot in the balls and, whatnot. And then
when you look like that, Raj, not taking anything away from their look, but when you look like that, like you're stuck in the 80s, kind of, sort of, physically speaking, like you've got to go all in with that. You got to go fully all in with that. They don't. They make them into comedy characters, a lot of, like you just said. And then you're looking at, well, I don't really see them in that light anymore. They kind of look like dorks or whatever have you.
Right.
I don't think that, but I could see fans thinking that. I give that team like 18 lives.
Yeah. I mean, they're great in the ring, and I always love watching them wrestle. But ultimately, fan perception is what wrestling's all about. And if they don't see them as stars, and it's clear that they don't, I think this was absolutely the right call for the New Day to win here. And especially with Kofi, I don't think he should be taking another loss right now. So yeah.
Somebody wrote, Eric Wells from the chat room wrote, if the Revival resigns, they are morons. Didn't they just resign? So they're not going to be up for another 3 years, 5 years?
No, they're. I think their contracts are up next year.
What you guys just told me, that's my example.
Gallows and Anderson.
Yeah, Gallows and Anderson.
Because when you guys just told me, within the last 8 months, that they got a $500,000 paycheck when we were arguing about what WWE superstars make today.
No, they turned that down.
What?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You got to get their phone numbers, Matt, and call them and be like, "Look, man, politics is good. Day job's good.
Out
Take
of
the
your
money."
minds. They are out of their minds. No, because once they're done, once these guys are done 3 years from now, ain't no one gonna remember them.
Yeah.
When I'm running a city and I have kids that are growing up into something because of the shit that I do for my city, it's not even debatable, Glenn. Don't ever compare the two again.
But don't you wish you'd had in the past 3 years at $500,000 a year? I'm saying if you could go in time machine, if you had the same life,
slow your roll. I was one of the highest paid developmental wrestlers in WWE history. I got very well taken care of. I bought my house cash, my car cash. It's pretty good.
You're making $500,000 a year.
Didn't say I didn't. And it's tacky to talk money.
Yeah,
especially in the world that I'm in now.
Oh, yeah, I get where you're at now. I understand. But that's interesting. That's very interesting.
And you were a top guy in TNA, and TNA was not
doing something for my city versus fake fighting in a ring. It's not even debatable to me.
No. I agree. Very interesting.
Plus, you see, everyone that seems to be with WWE, it seems like now it's more about the money than the love. And, at some point, that catches up to you. You're going to be miserable.
I just want to see,
and not everybody
get it. I just want to see all these guys and gals get it while they can.
Yeah, and that's kind of my point, man. Because I agree with you. There are bigger, more important things in the world than fake fighting, than professional wrestling, than podcasting, than almost anything. But my goal, now that we're all in our 40s, we're a little older. I think you look back on those years, your 20s, your 30s, your prime earning potential. Make all that money while you can, because that way, when you figure out what matters to you and what your real passion is, what your real purpose is in life, that way you don't have to worry about making ends meet and paying the bills. You've got that nest egg to rely on. So I hope all talent is able to just cash out with this run and find themselves in as good of a position as you and other wrestlers that have been able to pivot into something more meaningful.
And also, it's not what you make, is what you save.
Yes.
We are at an interesting point right now, because I think at some point AEW is going to have to, have a tighter budget, because they are making money off of ad revenue. That's their main source of income and pay-per-view. And with ad revenue on the TV shows, they have a really high DVR viewership. That's not, the prime ad, what they're looking for, what advertisers are looking for.
They need not to waste it on certain, talents. No offense, I keep going back to poor Brandon Cutler. The guy I don't know, he's done nothing wrong. But, I hope, someone like that, you know what I mean? They don't blow all that money on that. They could have brought somebody in 2 or 3 years from WWE that they wish they had that extra $300,000 or whatever the hell they're paying the kid.
Well, and that was Meltzer was talking about. That's the thinking now with some of the people WWE is cutting, that they can free up money to make sure that they're able to afford to keep the people they really want. Whereas,
Meltzer didn't say that. I think someone said that. Meltzer said that. But
but the logic makes sense regardless. Whoever said it, conventional wisdom. Whatever they're paying the Ascension, they can give to AJ Styles.
Dude, $500,000 for both for each of those 2 tag team wrestlers that you said earlier. Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah. That money could be better spent. On TV.
Well,
now they are. But
it is also, WWE also pays talent far less than any other sport. As far as the percentage of income, the percentage of the profits going to the talent. So. I'm all for, I think it's great. I think we're in the best part for talent right now.
Yeah.
The best time for talent.
It's true.
But, there are some warning signs. And you at some point, you got to, I don't know, either you take that money or it's a gamble, because ROH is, I don't know. I saw that pay-per-view this past weekend. There's just no buzz whatsoever for ROH. Impact, people forget that it's on. NWA, their numbers have dropped steadily, and I enjoy their show, but this oversaturation, all this stuff is catching up. And who knows how long these huge contracts will be out for.
cannot afford to have AEW fan out or flame out.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure.
We cannot.
It'll change everything very, very fast if there's no formidable competition anymore. So yeah, this match was great tonight. I mean, the New Day won; they retained. Highly recommend this. This was a fantastic start to the main pay-per-view card.
Who do you think is the greatest tag team of this century so far? I think it's either the New Day or the Usos or the Young Bucks. I
would have said Usos, but how many times have the damn New Day won these tag titles? You put on good matches. Man, that's a tough one. I would have said Usos until just recently. Honestly.
Yeah. I think it's probably the New Day.
Yeah,
it has to be right
on such a big scale. I mean, the Young Bucks are great, but this is
big scale. Yes,
yeah, on a big
Young
scale.
Bucks had like 5 years worth, of TV, AEW TV. Let's say I definitely would pick them, but you could throw what do you call it? What do they call it? Lucha Brothers.
Yeah. I mean, if it's the decade, though, the Young Bucks, I think that being able to be an independent tag team, to be able to make serious money on their own and then pivot that into AEW, I think their impact.
Yeah, so
it's different. That's different. Yeah, I agree, Glenn.
How do we base that? Are we supposed to be basing it on championships won, and money made?
For me, it's just consistently being as a tag team. On a big level, being seen by millions and millions of people each week.
And they can't compete with them. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but if you look at it, we're in a predetermined sport. So with what the Young Bucks did outside of that system, I think
they're more important.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
That being said, the New Day are great. And in fact, I don't know if you guys have listened yet, but the New Day has a podcast now. First 2 episodes are really good, and they're getting very inside baseball about how the concept of the New Day, the formation of it, the names that they rejected from creative. They rate creative over the coals quite a bit on the podcast. It's very entertaining.
Yeah, they talked about how creative tried to get Titus as part of the group, and they nixed that idea. And they're being completely honest and naming names, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Speaking of which, let's take a break. Thank the sponsor of this episode, which is Blue Chew. Little inside baseball for the fans of the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Blue Chew, too hot for WWE podcasts. We tried to get it on there. They were like, no, our audience can't handle that. But the Wrestling Inc. audience, the rest of you wrestling podcast listeners, Blue Chew, you know the deal. I today upgraded my television downstairs from 55 inches to 65 inches. And you might think, oh, that's not that big. Let me tell you, a 10-inch difference counts. You really notice it. There's just something about it you can't quite put your finger on. And let me tell you, it's the same way. You guys know what I'm talking about. You remember those days when you were good to go when you're 100%? Well, now you're a little older. Maybe you're at 70%. Maybe it's like a ladder match, and you're just thinking, why can't I just climb the ladder and take those titles and make it happen? It's not quite working how it used to. I don't have the pep in my step, but now you can increase your performance, get that extra confidence back with BlueChew.com. That's blue like the color blue. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. The real stuff, the science, the stuff that works. You can take them anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach. And since they are chewable, they work up to twice as fast as a pill, so you can be ready whenever that opportunity arises. So if you can benefit from more confidence where it counts, Blue Chew is the fast and easy way to enhance your performance. Now, Blue Chew is prescribed online by licensed physicians, but the great news is you don't have to go to the doctor's office. You don't have to wait in line in the pharmacy. It ships right to your door in a discreet package. You just go on the website. It's very easy. You fill out, answer a couple of questions. They're made in the USA, and since Blue Chew prepares and ships direct, they're actually cheaper than a pharmacy. So you've got no awkwardness. You've got the Blue Chew sent right to your door. It's chewable. Bring that spontaneity back. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Visit BlueChew.com. Get your first shipment free when you use our special promo code WINC. You're just going to pay $5 shipping. That's BLUEChew.com, promo code WINC to try it free. Blue Chew is the better, the cheaper, the faster choice. And we thank them for sponsoring the Wrestling Inc. podcast.
Absolutely. And we have a lot of women that listen to the show too. If you want a good Christmas gift for the boyfriends and enhance the holidays, it's a good Christmas gift as well.
Back to the show tonight. Well, Matt just sits there shaking his head, saying he's like, I'm doing important.
His hat says Strongwood. And it's blue.
There you go. We tried. We tried with Blue Chew.
So let me ask you a question really quick.
Yeah, please.
You don't know the difference between your 65-inch TV and your 55-inch? It's bigger.
But you don't think it's going to be that much bigger, but then you're seeing, you're like, that is substantially bigger.
I don't sit there pondering around the room and go, "Whoa, babe, what do you think? Do you think it's because it's bigger? Of course, it's better."
Yeah. You know what though? We did get a 4K TV, and I don't see much difference with that than our.
It's what you're watching.
It's
the content.
Yeah, no, but when we watch stuff in 4K, like we'll watch the Netflix stuff in 4K, and I don't see much of a difference.
Football and Star Wars are like the best testers to see.
Did you watch The Mandalorian?
Oh my God! Yes. Yes. How did I not tweet you guys this? Yes.
This week's episode was like some of my favorite stuff in all of Star Wars I've ever seen.
I'm still 3 episodes behind, so I'll catch up tonight.
Oh my God, it's so good.
So good. Looks great on the larger television. WWE though is still broadcasting in like 720. I mean, like
it's not 1280.
I think some of it's 1080 tonight.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. 1080.
They did some upgrades, but you watch it on Fox, so it's way better on Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, Buddy Murphy versus Alistair Black tonight. They've been building to this. This was a bloody match. This was a brutal match. Alistair Black picking up a very important win here. Matt, what did you think of this match? And what do you think of Buddy Murphy's showing and sort of his standing as we end the year in WWE?
Great. Don't you? Really good.
I mean, I feel like they were building him up for this. It seemed like
this is what he was built for. Yeah, this is the same thing, the John Cena 101 thing. Like someone like me would be built just to go through people and just job people out for 6 months, make me look like a monster, and feed me to John. You know, like they do that for everybody. The thing with him though is he's a really great worker, Buddy Murphy, and he'll be able to, you know, not have this be the end of him or something like that. You know what I mean? He'll be able to pick right back up. He's good. He's really good. I was really looking forward to this match. And really quick, just before we continue, the fans in the chat room want to know if they ask. I'm sure they are. I had a blood sugar drop earlier, so I apologize. I had to eat like 10 of these Lifesaver gummies. My wife told me. Sorry.
Yeah. I just worry that WWE creative, you know, once they lose interest, they'll push you up. You do what you're supposed to, and then they lose interest in you. And I could see them doing that with Buddy. And Buddy is super talented. I thought this match was great, but it was also had no crowd reaction. And I just felt like if this was at a takeover, it would have been freaking amazing.
Why do you think that is? Because both talents haven't really been featured?
Yeah, I think that the fans just don't see them as stars yet. Man. And Alistair Black's been around for a while. It's just been so up and down that he's just not over yet. And, you know, Buddy Murphy, he lacks that charisma, even though he is so good in the ring. And, I mean, that's just, honestly, that's kind of where it's at. I just don't see Buddy getting past a certain level because of that. It's like Cedric.
Has his promos been vanilla, though? Because I remember him in the Roman Reigns stuff. And his little parts he played in that I thought were pretty decent, right? I mean, when's he had an opportunity to show his charisma?
Well, it's also hard because you have to say what you're scripted, right? So it's not like you can go out and come up with your own stuff. So, but
has he had a bunch of talking opportunities or not?
Not really. I mean, I can only remember like one promo, I think, and then it ended with like Roman kicking the crap out of him. So I don't know. I thought this match would have been just amazing in like a takeover ring, but the crowd reaction hurt it. But I really liked it.
Was this your second favorite match?
Yeah. In that order is New Day first, and I think again if the crowd was hot for this match, this would have been the first. But you know, for me, everything makes a match. It's not just ring work; it's the crowd.
Finally, got Glenn to quit. See ya. Good riddance.
Yeah, what happened there? But what'd you think? How did this rank for you on the show?
I dug it a lot. I'd say this is fourth. It was third place until the ending of Bray Wyatt stuff. Because Bray Wyatt did not want him coming out like that. I wasn't happy about that.
Yeah.
And I love the fans. We'll get to that match. I don't want to talk about it now, but I wanted the Fiend.
Yeah, no, I agree. We'll get to it. So Glenn, I'm not sure if he's having technical difficulties, so I'll just run us through here.
People were saying my video quality went to crap, so I was trying to.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was if it was a max headroom thing you're doing.
No, it looks great on my end. Let me refresh on what you guys talk about this next match. I'll be right back.
All right, you want to intro it first?
Oh, sure. The next match after this was the open challenge for the Raw Tag Team titles, the OC versus the Viking Raiders. Discuss.
Go. Man, I can't stand them. I'm sorry. I actually hate the Vikings.
Yeah, and I think you know what? There's a story here. Like with OC had beaten the Viking Raiders at the Saudi event. Why would you have them as a mystery opponent? There's a story that you could be telling, on TV leading to this match. Like the only team that beat the Viking Raiders are finally getting their title shot, as opposed to them being a mystery. And then they did the double count out, so this is going to continue. But I didn't like this.
I wish. Well, I can't say the women's tag division. They're putting too much stock in it as far as making it. Having lots of tag teams that are over, but the men's tag team division is just trash. I'm sorry, it is. It's garbage. And this is probably, I would argue, the most talented roster they've had. So it doesn't make sense. It's not on the guys, that's for sure.
Yeah.
OC should just be steamrolling people and talking smack the next week every time. They're entertaining. I don't know what WWE thinks they're missing.
They're entertaining. Street Profits are entertaining. I think those two teams could have a really cool feud, a fun feud. The Viking Raiders, they're good in the ring. They can do a lot of cool stuff, but it takes more than that.
What's the difference between them and the Highlanders?
Oh man, that's a name from the past. Rory and Robbie. Is that what they're?
Yeah, I know they're a little bit bigger, or whatnot, and they do some different moves. But at the end of the day, the feel you get after one of their matches, how's it different?
Yeah.
OC, I don't know.
Yeah, no,
They're a lot better.
They're good on promos.
Really?
They're interesting. Viking Raiders, when they cut a promo, it sounds like a someone who doesn't watch wrestling scripting wrestlers, like the just big broody. Yeah,
they'd be great in the 80s, early 90s. I'd even say 91. But don't you think it says something? Like, how did they not get the memo, WWE, that hi, P.S. we helped make AJ Styles and make him comfortable and get him to open up on the mic. We helped with that,
right?
The OC. Do you know what I mean? Like, how did WWE not get that?
Yeah.
They can get AJ over, something that, not over, but as far as over on the mic. I'm telling you right now, as a friend and someone who's watched him wrestle for thousands of years, I go back to it every episode. I feel like nobody saw this coming from him on the mic.
Yeah.
Nobody. Not because he was terrible. It just wasn't his deal.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's a big part of that.
Yeah. And the three of them, you watch them on like a ride along or anything like that, and they're just great. Yeah. So, and I've said it on this podcast before, when they're doing the interviews and they're only talking to AJ, I'm like, man, let the other guys get more in. They're really good. You can make them stars. They just re-signed too, so push them. So yeah, hopefully, I'm with you. I know the internet wrestling crowd loves the Viking Raiders. They love War Machine, and
why though? They don't think it's corny? Their shtick, their gimmick?
I think because they can do flips in the ring, and
but wearing a freaking horn on their head.
I'm with you.
Like, I'm being honest. Let's say you're on a date, right? Your girlfriend's over at the house and whatnot. She's like, hey, so I hear you like wrestling. Hey, that's cool. I'll sit down and I'll watch it. And I'm like, wow, this girl's really cool. And then you start clicking through the channels, and that comes on. Come on.
Yeah.
Yes, I literally just gave you almost the quote-unquote blueprint of one of my first times with my wife, Larissa, when we were first dating. I just got the TV in my dorm room, and it was Monday night, and we used to watch wrestling for pregame. That's how great wrestling was. Like, everybody did that. They did the pregames before going out to the clubs and stuff. We were always watching Nitro versus Raw.
Does Larissa, does she like wrestling now?
Not as much now. She's part of it with me, right? So
yeah.
I'm sure she got worn out of it, maybe. But early on, oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, my wife, Anjali, she in the 90s, she enjoyed watching it. And now I can't get her to sit through a match.
Yep.
Unless it's like The Rock or Jericho, someone like that.
The Rock, for sure.
Yeah. So there was a spot, so they were promoting KFC. There was a spot where they had a table with KFC and chicken, and some fans were eating chicken at the table. It was really corny, but at the same time, it's really smart on WWE's part, because now so many people are switching to DVR. They're not watching wrestling live. You're going to have to find other ways to make money on advertising, because those rates are going to drop as the DVR numbers continue to rise. What the hell is going? There's like nails flying up behind you.
Glenn, just pick a normal backdrop. Just pick black.
Fine, I'll
That's what's throwing your thing off.
There.
Ah,
It's imprisoning me.
Any fan on there, please make a meme out of that because it looked like Glenn's head was floating just slightly like this. So we went over Viking Raiders, Glenn.
And KFC, where I was talking about the advertising and how advertising needs to change because so many people are DVRing now. And those DVR bucks are not near as high as first run, if any. Like, that's what they're paying for is those live numbers.
Yeah.
So where's the catch? Where's the rub on that though? As far as you bury your talents being stuck in these stupid shit.
Right. Yeah.
You're underneath guys, right? And you should be okay.
Yeah. Sadly, it's the tag team champions, and that's what they think of the tag team titles. You know, it hasn't meant anything in a long time. I mean, when I look back at like when I became a fan, and Demolition they'd headline house shows. You know, Demolition. And their feud with the Powers of Pain, that would be the main event of a lot of the, not the A and B shows, but the C shows. But yeah.
Like, dude, the Bulldogs, Heart Foundation, like, it was a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, it was what it was. I thought the KFC thing, I'm really surprised they didn't go further with it. That there wasn't more food involved. They cleared the food off the table.
Yeah.
Before the spot. Very strange. After that, we had, and that was a double count out at the end there. And then we had the TLC match, Roman Reigns versus King Baron Corbin. Oh, this match.
Say what happened real quick.
Okay, so, I mean, Corbin ended up winning this. Ziggler got involved. The Revival was there. So, I mean, you know, Reigns looks strong, right? I mean, he got like triple teamed. Finally, the Shadow
quadruple teamed.
Yeah, it was crazy. Got dropped into a chair with End of Days. I mean, but when they were showing the build up to this match and all the recaps, it's like this could double for a highlight reel of how much SmackDown on Fox has sucked with the dog mascot stuff, with everything else they've done with the dog food. I feel like this is just such a shitty feud for some really talented guys.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I guess I'm just looking to the ending too much versus the meat of the sandwich, if you will. Corbin got over on him. He has a win. I wouldn't have called that.
I feel like Roman has actually been losing too much on pay-per-view. He's lost to Shane, Eric Rowan. I mean, Matt, a top guy, they should not be losing that much. So when you beat them, it helps make someone, as opposed to, like tonight, I didn't think it helped raise Corbin at all because he needed like 50 guys to beat him. And Roman, it didn't hurt him either. But if you want to take Corbin to the next level, have him beat Roman clean. But if you're going to have him beat Roman clean, don't have him have all these other losses. So that way, when it happens, it's a big deal. And it helps take him to the next level.
There's definitely truth to that. Yeah.
I don't know. I thought I liked this match until the last 10 minutes when everyone started getting involved. Yeah. Roman's probably their top babyface right now. I mean, who else is there? So when people crap on
him losing is working in a weird way.
Yeah, I mean, fans are into him.
It's reversing the shove down their throat stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? But you're right. If you're gonna save him, see, that's it. Though. I don't think that's what they're doing. I think they're gonna put him back on top.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it could easily be him and the Fiend at WrestleMania. I think the Fiend and Brock is more intriguing and more interesting. But
yeah, can you imagine Brock having to sell he's scared like that?
Yeah.
God, I want to see that now. I want to see the Fiend like invading Brock Lesnar's farm.
You have Sable make a cameo. I don't think Brock would ever allow that, and Brock would not allow himself to be scared. No.
It was a good point. Tammy in the chat pointed out Corbin went from the lone wolf to needing 20 guys to win. It is kind of weird that now. I mean, they weren't even referring to them as like Team Corbin tonight. That he's got this stable, but the guys in his stable, I don't know. I mean. Not, I don't think you want to brag about, I've got Dolph Ziggler and even the Revival, given Matt, where the way they're being portrayed on TV.
Yeah, Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
Just nothing. Does nothing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just when they've done this before, where they'll have like a random group of guys that are helping. Wasn't it last year where they were having a bunch of guys beating up Roman, or 2 years ago? That's what this felt like.
Yeah, random together. Nobody cares.
Right. It's just finding underneath guys to do this, and it's going to be forgotten. I don't think this is the start of a real stable. Now, it was reported in the Observer, or Meltzer reported that there are plans for Drake Maverick to start managing Corbin.
I like that.
That could be interesting. I think, personally, if Corbin dropped the goofiness, like the crown and the cape, and went to more of like a Bully Ray kind of heel, like how Bully Ray was in TNA, like really just serious but in your face, annoying but serious.
He doesn't need help talking whatsoever.
No, that's what I'm saying. He's great on the mic. He's gotten really good. So if you drop the silliness, him doing dog puns and stuff like that, make him more serious, and that's why I'm saying Bully Ray, because Bully Ray would do that, where he.
I'm just wondering why WWE's thinking that.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so let's take basic heel psychology. The idea with Corbin is we portray him like this, and you really want to see him get beat up. You really want to see somebody sock it to him and see him as the butt of the joke. But I just feel like with the humor, he is very talented. He is very good at what he does. But the material they're giving him, it's like that go away heat. I just don't want to watch this.
It's that they call it the X-Pac heat, but yeah.
Which is tough because he's done an amazing job, especially given the shit that they've given him to work with. So Corbin won that. Then we went to the Universal title match, The Miz versus Bray Wyatt. Oh, this tonight. We got Sweater Bray coming out to the Firefly Funhouse music. And it was crazy to me to think that this guy has had the best 2019 of any WWE superstar, easily the male wrestler of the year within the main roster. But could you imagine trying to explain to a non-wrestling fan, the guy coming out looking like a demented husky Mr. Rogers to this music is the top guy?
Well, say what you want. The reaction he got was pretty telling, I thought. I didn't like it. It's not my cup of tea. I prefer The Fiend. Just like we preferred, what's his name? Fergal.
The demon.
The demon. Same thing. But I ended up really liking this segment a lot. I really ended up really digging it. I loved him selling and laughing the entire time. Michael Cole kind of ruined it at times for me in the beginning. He's walking up and down this guy's been known to walk up and down the aisle and say, "Hey, buddy," to everybody. Shut up, Cole. How do you know that? Because I'm pretty sure, when did I miss him come out as Bray Wyatt like that?
Yeah.
Like, how do you know, Cole? This is supposedly his first time coming out to, a ring, walking down the aisle. How do you know that, Michael? Like, shut up.
Right. Yeah, this is the first time he's been out in the crowd as Bray since the Firefly Funhouse has started.
It felt contrived, obviously. And Cole's sticking stupid talking points in. Don't ruin him.
Yeah.
Don't talk.
Yeah. I'm a little old school at times, and I think if you're the world champion, you should look like a world champion. And when he came out in that sweater, again, Glenn, your point, like if there are people watching at your house, they're watching The Fiend. Anyone watching, it's like, man, that's intense. That dude's scary. You're watching a guy in a sweater, and they're like, oh, that's the world champion. Remember when you were a kid, you used to watch Hulk Hogan, Macho Man? This guy in the sweater, he's holding that title. Well, or he's supposed to be on the same level as that title. But once he took that sweater off and he just had that, the T-shirt, it worked for me. I think Bray is just a genius. Miz, I think, sucks in this role. Him coming out in that goofy outfit, doing the pointing when Bray is, invading his home. Go back, for people in the chat who weren't fans in the 80s and 90s, go back and look at the Macho Man Jake the Snake stuff that was personal over, Jake the Snake like touched Elizabeth, and you look at those promos and look at how intense, and that's what Miz should be doing, and Miz is just bad in this role. It's just not what he's for.
He did it well right before the bell rung, but he screwed up in his entrance. I agree.
Yeah, it's hard to take him serious as in that. For me, at least, it's hard for me to take him seriously in that role. I bet you Daniel Bryan could do great in that part, but The Miz, not so much.
Love Daniel Bryan's new look.
Yeah.
Cool DB. I like it.
Although I'm sad if this is the end with The Miz. I was really hoping we got Bray on the new season of Miz and Mrs. with just him and Maurice for an episode or two.
But that wouldn't be shown until like 8 months down
I
the
know,
line.
that's the problem. It's such a good story, though.
Can we just say, though, that was awesome that they showed last week's recap on how he took over and invaded their home and the baby's crib again. That's just so damn eerie.
Yeah.
That was really well done.
Yeah. Again, I think Miz, we've shown he could be intense. That promo he did with Daniel Bryan on Talking Smack. That's the kind of thing he should be cutting on Bray Wyatt. But anyway.
The problem with them continuing this is if you watch all of those movies, whether you have the stalker, the peril situation, ultimately the good guy wins. And with Daniel Bryan, I mean, that's not going to happen. It shouldn't happen. Bray should be victorious.
Well, this isn't continuing. This was just a way to not do Bray Wyatt versus Daniel Bryan yet. So they want to save that. So now they're going back to Daniel Bryan as we saw at the end of this.
Yeah, so Bray won pretty easily, and then we saw the Fiend come up on the screen. Bray was like, what the hell's going on? Then the lights didn't go off fully, but a shadowy figure.
Well, real quick, and this is to Matt's point about Michael Cole. Bray Wyatt grabbed that giant mallet, and Michael Cole's like, what is that? What is that? When he had used that same mallet at the Hell in a Cell. Like, either Michael Cole didn't watch that match. Can't remember if he was on commentary for it, but it's like, dude, Michael Cole, shut up. He's used that before. It's not a mystery.
He didn't go to the Jim Ross school of learning when the F to lay out. That's for sure.
No. So attacked by Daniel Bryan in a hoodie. Daniel, no hair anymore, and he looks like he did 10 years ago.
Yep.
Amazing what a difference a haircut can make.
He looked like, American Dragon Daniel Bryan, but with a little more facial hair.
And he got some offense in on Bray, but then the lights went out and Bray disappeared.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
It freshens Daniel Bryan up. I always like Daniel Bryan's look with the hair and the beard, but this does freshen him up, and it gives his character a change.
What they did tonight, just to put Bray over a bit more, this is how he can continue being the top superstar in 2020 if we get the Mr. Rogers, Firefly Funhouse Bray. If sometimes we get the Fiend, maybe we get the Muscle Man Dance Bray.
I want the Muscle Man Dance Bray. He's my favorite one.
Yeah.
Get him in the beret with the paint, the paintbrush out there. But I think by making his character more dynamic, this was the problem with the Demon. It got so predictable. Finn loses or doesn't get a clean, easy win as himself. He becomes the Demon. He wins at the pay-per-view. If Bray can become this cast of characters, I think that there's no limit on how high this guy can go.
The Fiend is where the money is at, though.
Yeah, but it'll get boring if you see. In fact, I think the Fiend was already getting boring.
You gotta use it sparingly.
Kane and Undertaker especially Kane,
Exactly.
were eventually able to do it. You know what I mean? And Kane wore the full mask, can't see his facials, things like that. Didn't even talk on top of it. And you would think the Michael Myers routine would get old, but he would get injured somehow at the right time sometimes and take time off, or they did a really good job with him ultimately.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
Taker,
you do it with him.
Yeah, Taker, I think when you'd first see that gimmick, you'd be like, this isn't going to last more than a couple of years because it's so one-dimensional. But once you can take that into other areas,
So let's hope they do. And then, Glenn, to your point, they can sprinkle it in. And when I say sprinkle it, I mean like what we saw from Bray tonight since the beginning of the introduction of, what's his name, The Fiend on day one, all the way to now with us just getting this one-off appearance, not one-off, but one appearance by Bray Wyatt, normal Bray Wyatt. I can take this, and this is a good little thing to break it up a little bit. And what was awesome, though, and you heard the crowd, and I'm worried about our society again, when the crowd is chanting, let him in, let him in. Oh, my God. I was like, what are they saying? I go, they're horrible people is what they are. They're telling them, let Satan in. Like, they're terrible people.
Well, see,
I was laughing my ass off.
And I think the storytelling failed here with The Miz because they were not into The Miz at all. They were not looking for The Miz to get his revenge.
God.
They were into Bray.
Lord, no. Don't we just... I mean, they try. We got to give him a little bit of credit for trying to give us a little bit of a storyline versus just him steamrolling somebody just for the hell of steamrolling somebody, which is kind of what he did. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He needed to be on. They needed a connector to him and Daniel Bryan to get to the end of that match, essentially, is the way I see it.
Yeah.
I'm just glad we got a different version tonight and tonight only. At first, I hated it. I didn't like him coming out, but I don't know. It grew on me because I watched him how he wrestled differently and just took an ass kicking the entire time. Him being Bray and laughing the whole time. He was getting stiff. He was getting stiffed all over that ring, and he just kept having to laugh. And I don't know. I thought that was different. I thought that was something.
No.
Can Cape Fear that I was gonna kind of bring that point up that Cape Fear is a good example, man. What you're saying, like people chanting the
Mouthful
bad
of blood,
guy.
laughing.
But here's the difference, though, man. It's like
and he was the heel, right? When he's the babyface is paying like 5 guys to beat up the heel in Cape Fear, and the heel beats them all up, and is like, and the babyface is hiding behind a trash can or whatever it was.
But here's the difference in Cape Fear, though. Cape Fear, De Niro's character was like, ooh, this is weird and creepy, and I'm into it. And then the scene with Ileana Douglas happens, where it's like violent and dark. You're like, okay, no, this is effed up. He's the bad guy. He's the villain. Now I want to see him pay the ultimate price. But they played a little ambiguous with his past wrongdoings in the past at the beginning, and he gets you in with that charisma. With Bray, Bray's never going to commit something. I think they're smart enough to do that, where he's going to stay more in the anti-hero mold rather than really cross the line. The stuff with him is yes, but I mean, come on, it's not point of no return.
Yeah. How about when Miz asks his baby, where did you get this from?
Yeah.
How old is Miz's baby? Nothing for nothing. No, is his baby like 2?
Yeah, I think she's 2 now.
Yeah. Yeah, because that was that WrestleMania, like right after, right? She got pregnant.
I popped for that. I was like, I don't think the baby talks yet. It's 2.
There could have been some overdubs.
I know, I got you. But go ahead. Sorry.
So I didn't like the end, though, with Bray, or not with Bray, with Daniel. When he was standing in there with the mallet, Bray disappeared, and then Daniel just smacks the mallet down. He looks at the title, smacks it down in the center of the ring, and then just walks off.
It was awkward.
There's a little awkwardness there, yeah. I agree.
Yeah, at first it looked like he was going to smash the belt, which makes no sense because he wants the belt, right?
Yeah.
Unless it was the Fiend belt, because the Fiend has his own belt. That would make sense to want to smash that, even though it's like $7,000.
Oh, you're right, guys. This was a little bit weird at the end. Not too weird where it ruined everything for me. But.
Right. Because as soon as he started celebrating, getting on the ropes, that it was like all forgotten.
I was happy. Yeah. Happy again.
Yeah.
So Royal Rumble, I'm pretty sure we'll see Bray versus Daniel Bryan, and I look forward to how they're going to build that over the next month.
Yeah, and Bryan, he requested that this, not have the finale at this pay-per-view and to continue on. And Bryan's great. He's got a great mind for the business and storytelling. So, with him and Bray both working on this, I think it could be really good.
Yeah.
And I want everyone to start tweeting at WWE, at Bray Wyatt, everyone, that we need the Muscle Man Bray Wyatt to wrestle at an upcoming pay-per-view.
At least, and Muscle Man Bray Wyatt still looks like an athlete. He's,
I want him coming out in the headband with the Zubas to the music.
I prefer that than sweater, than Mr. Rogers Bray.
Yes, make that happen.
By the way, Plumber's crack Bray. Did you see that again during the replay? I keep going back to that when he attacked Miz backstage. It's freaking Plumber's crack.
I'm assuming that was an accident, right?
Of course it was.
Got to get a track belt, man. Got to get a track. Have you guys? I mean, this is really random.
Cameraman, move.
Yeah.
I've been making this recommendation. Everyone in my life, they don't know what to get people this Christmas. Have you guys owned a track belt before, like Core, one of those ones that have the teeth? They're like belts, but you don't do it like a typical buckle. Mm-hmm. It's got like a quarter of an inch. It's got a track on the belt itself, so you adjust it through the day. It's like perfect fit. Your pants will never fall down again. Everyone's got to get on this bandwagon now. I'm buying them for everyone for Christmas. They're
give me one.
So good.
I'll try.
Yeah, they're really cool stuff.
You don't even give me show sponsor crap. You won't give me this either.
Or maybe I'll send a little something to Mr. Matt Morgan in Longwood. What size pants do you wear, Matt?
36.
It's getting personal.
Yes. So let's talk about what happened after this, which was Bobby Lashley versus Rusev in a tables match. I think I figured it out, guys. This is a bad storyline, but Jerry Lawler is making the storyline 5 times worse than it actually is.
He's annoying the hell out of me. I forgot to bring that up earlier.
Yeah.
He's annoying the hell out of me.
He's one half of one of my favorite commentating duos of all time.
Yes. It's
sad.
It is sad.
He's just not. Yeah, I always liked the heel and the babyface commentator dynamic, but Lawler's just outdated.
Yeah, he is, and he keeps trying to catch the younger guys. Like he said something to Joe during the main event. He said something to Joe about Joe said something about one of them's gonna the Kabuki Warriors they're gonna put the Molly Wop on, whatever. Those two, he's like the rat, like trying to make fun. I'm like, dude, that's Samoa Joe. He's cool as shit. Stop. You're not, Jerry. Settle down. Don't try to call a dude out who's everybody thinks is universally cool and is with today's culture and pop culture and all that other stuff. And you're way out of the loop. So don't try to like make fun of people. It makes them look worse.
I think Lawler called Kairi Sane Asuka once, or vice versa in that match
Kabuki
too.
Warrior number 1, or I could have sworn it was like Kabuki Warrior number 1.
Yeah, it seemed like he didn't really know who was who, and
yes, he definitely did. At one point, messed that up. Yes.
Yeah, I guess to go back and watch it, but Joe, on the other hand, they found something in him.
Good. I mean, okay, so here's my deal with that. I was going to tell you at the end. I'm nervous for him. Here's why I'm nervous for him, because he's really good at this. Mm-hmm. But I'm worried he ain't going to get paid what he would get paid as what, in my opinion, he should be as a main event act.
Yeah.
And get at least one opportunity with that title and see what he could do with it. I wish.
Yeah.
This is my wish list we're talking here. So I'm worried about him because he is so damn good. They're going to keep him on that is what I'm worried about.
Yeah. But back in the day, when Lawler, when he was first commentating, he was a wrestler too, and he was in that feud with Bret Hart, and he would do both. So if they could do it where he does both, I think, because Monday Night Raw commentary, it's no good when it's just Lawler and Vic Joseph. They need Joe there.
That's a lot of edge and attitude, and like he believes everything he's saying. You could feel it. I was like, wow, I didn't know he had that in him either. Mm-hmm. Think about it.
Yeah.
Joe is just so sharp. He knows the product. He knows everyone. Vic is so good. He clearly does his homework and research. And Lawler is out there. The Olympic sex joke. Jesus, he's been telling that joke for 40 years now.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, Joe, he's also very believable. It doesn't come across like he's trying to play a character or, you just believe what he's saying. I hope they don't ruin him. I hope Vince doesn't start getting in his ear.
I thought it was interesting. Was it Graves that made the comparison of comparing him to Taz?
Yeah. Taz and Michael Cole.
Yeah.
Taz was really good at the beginning.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. So Bobby versus Rusev. Lana was out there. They tried. I like that spot where they were on the ring apron, where Bobby was on the ring apron, Rusev's in the ring. They've each got a table behind them, and they were trying to lift the other one through. I thought that was cool. I thought this didn't go big enough with the moments, but the outcome of Bobby winning, I thought was interesting.
I agree.
Oh, I think that's the way to do it. If the babyface wins right off the bat, it kind of ends it.
Right off the bat, this has been going on for the better part of my 40s.
This is their first match, though. And
they stressed this out. Yeah, they definitely stressed this out. Yeah. And I know, Roger, you dig it because it does a number. It has been, right?
Well, I'm not a big fan of how it's been executed, but I do like storylines. I think that this has been badly executed, but it has been working to an extent in the sense that it doesn't lose viewers. It gains usually.
Right.
So in that sense, and, Rusev is more over than he was before this.
I heard somebody else saying that recently too, by the way. Yeah, he is. He definitely is.
And he is, not Rusev Day, not a chant.
No,
he is.
You're right.
So, but yeah, to keep it going, you kind of need Lashley to win. And it's a tables match, so it doesn't really hurt Rusev either. I just kind of assumed that that's what they were going to do here.
I don't care when this comes on each week. I get it. I'm telling you, if it wasn't for this podcast, I would not have watched. I wouldn't. That's not something. And I know I get on them about storylines, and I want character, right? So I'm being hypocritical by not giving them their credit here for sticking with storyline and character-driven stuff right now. It just doesn't. It's not my cup of tea as far as character stuff that I would want to watch.
Well, yeah, when you say you want characters and storylines, it's got to be good characters and good storylines. Like just someone like what's that?
Desperate we are for them to be doing that, though. Like,
yeah.
I gotta like tip the cap to him, but he's trying.
Right. It's a bad storyline, but hey, at least you're doing something.
I thought the Mike and Maria version of this was actually better than Bobby and Lana.
You don't think so, Raj? Come on.
No.
Why did you feel terrible for him?
Because that was helping nobody. At least this is helping Rusev. That was just burying Mike.
What's the payoff? Mike was beat his wife in a match. Like, yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, it was just humiliating that.
Yeah, I felt horrible.
Maria, compare Maria to Lana just in terms of who is a better promo. No comparison.
Oh yeah, for sure. But she was obviously going to be off screen soon too because she's pregnant.
And we'll never find out who the actual father is.
What was next?
So after that, Angelo Dawkins, Montez Ford backstage, hyping up the main event tonight. They also, after Bobby Lashley won, gave him the advice to get a vasectomy. Then we heard the fight going on backstage. Roman brawling with Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, the Revival, and the New Day were involved. The Street Profits jumped in. And then we cut to a break. We came back to the main event, the TLC match for the women's tag team titles. Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair versus the Kabuki Warriors. Now, this the main event of the show. I tweeted this. Interesting bookends to the decade. The first pay-per-view, 2010's Royal Rumble, there was a 10 Divas women's match, a dark match, didn't even make it on TV. Here we are, the end of the decade. The women are main eventing TLC, the last pay-per-view of the decade. And I wanted to gripe about there not being more women's matches on the show, but I think this was the longest match that we saw tonight, definitely up there. And yes, a little messy as we talked about before, but overall, Matt, I mean, this was super entertaining.
This was. I know you guys don't agree with me on this, but this was my favorite match.
I thought, Matt, watch it again. I thought it was just really sloppy. Yeah, I love all the women in this match. I think Charlotte is, I've said it many times that I think she's the biggest star of the women, star potential. Becky is the biggest star right now, and the Kabuki Warriors I think are awesome. I think Kairi Sane has all the potential in the world, but there was one spot where they took like 40 minutes to set up a ladder. It just got very sloppy. They're trying to throw chairs in the ring, and it was hitting them in the face. It was just very sloppy to me. And again, I'm a big fan of all of them, but it just didn't click to me.
Well, just so you know, when you throw a chair in the ring, like when you throw it the way Kyrie did, you purposely know it's not going to land in the ring.
No, I think she can get it over the top rope.
She did it again, though. She did it again, like a chest. Like, go back and watch. It's like a chest pass, basketball pass. It's not how you throw a chair in the ring. You flim it like a frisbee sideways. If you're gonna throw it through the ropes like she was, there's no way they didn't walk through that. I thought that because she did it again when the camera finally came back on her later on after trying to throw a couple in there, and then Charlotte and Becky started throwing them, beaming them right back at her, and then they came out and they cornered her. That's when that told me that was a spot. She's supposed to look like a psycho, crazy girl, and was flipping out and having a little tantrum, and it didn't work out. Like, that's the way I saw that. I didn't really see it as that F up. Even like the announcers kind of make it seem like it was.
But if you go back and watch it again, I think when Kyrie that first one hit her in the face, I feel like she got knocked loopy, because I think from that point on, she was just off. Like she was
300 opportunities for her to have a concussion. I mean, I can name 10 other things. I was like, she hit the ladder awkwardly a bunch of different times when it wasn't she shouldn't have. But I don't know, the intensity of this. These girls went at it, except at the end with Charlotte and Becky's weak chair shots. But overall, I mean, again, I look at the end package as well. Mm-hmm. They definitely bled, sweated, and paid to the price, brother. And there's match. They totally did. And the Kabuki Warriors got more over, I thought, in the process, especially Asuka. But to me, again, as a wrestler, I'm watching this going, "Ooh, I wouldn't do that. Ooh, I couldn't do that. Ooh, hell no, I'm not doing that." So maybe that has something to do with why I like it. So.
I was impressed by Asuka. I usually am. I thought this was the sloppiest match she's been in, but I thought she looked really good here. I thought Becky did not impress me in this.
She was getting others over. That did impress me, that she came into this to help get the others over, I thought. Do you know what I mean? By agreeing to be tied up like that and whatnot. Like, that wasn't corny looking, I thought. The tie-up spot, I thought that was cool. I thought that was innovative.
No, I like that.
When she got out.
I like the rope spot too, where they pulled the rope, and I mean they did look. Again, the effort in this match was was there. They were definitely they busted their ass, but I thought the end result was not good.
Well, I miss the green mist. They sold it so much as Asuka's thing. Now these last couple matches that haven't had it, like, I'm waiting for that spot.
Missed after all that, dude. That's like
cherry on top.
Seriously, they're getting shot with a gun and somebody stabbing you with a butter knife after.
No, but they were so creative in this match. I mean, I'm not meaning to nitpick, but that would have been a really cool additional spot with all the other elaborate stuff they did.
Or
Even
like
the
she misses and hits the ref or something like that. With the miss.
Actually, that actually would have made some sense.
It's a temporary blindness, so it's
Yeah.
not something that keeps somebody down selling for 30 seconds while you climb a ladder. It's something you blow in their face, spit in their face, and roll them up 1, 2, 3, and the ladies run around like the ring like that for about 10 seconds afterwards.
Well, let me tell you, super impressed that with tying Becky to the ladder, how that came into play later, that the rope was still on the ladder, knotted on the ladder. Like, that was some next level setup and payoff
Seriously.
that you never see in the WWE.
How the Hardys had never thought of this, or the Dudleys, or Christian and Edge. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this was really well done. I don't know.
Yeah, they came up with some innovative stuff. I think they need to come up with something for Becky. I think they need to get her in a big storyline because I feel like these last couple, Survivor Series, that main event, which that stunk up the joint.
Do you think it's Charlotte then? Do you think it's another tag team opportunity with Charlotte versus these two again, and then finally the Mega Powers explode again for the 15th time?
I don't know. I mean,
They fight each other.
Becky and Charlotte just seem so.
What does she have though? Who am I missing?
Shayna, but
Shayna?
not until next year.
Ew.
Hey, even Shayna. I mean, I know you guys are bigger fans of hers than I am.
I hate her. No, don't steal my hating on her. I'm the original hater on Shane.
I don't like her promo, but I think she's very credible, and I think that if Ronda ain't coming back, Shayna's the next best thing.
Yeah, she.
No way.
Okay, who would you put Becky in a feud with?
Oh, okay, yeah, she's fresh. I would. They should.
But for WrestleMania,
No. Why not build up? What's her name? They did a terrible job with her. In the first, they were doing really good. The lady,
Sasha.
Lacey?
would be good. Lacey. They should have done. They really should have built her up.
I'd say Rhea Ripley, but she's she's NXT for now. Oh, yeah. I could see that. So Justin Lopez is writing. Kyrie got concussed after Becky threw a monitor at her head accidentally.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I could see that was
Taking all the crap off the table. Yep.
Yeah.
That was early on.
Yeah.
She still weighs 80 pounds. And
Yeah.
a lot of girls make that mistake when it's the first time trying to put themselves through a table with somebody lying on it. If someone's lying on it, you got to do it the way Becky did. Did you see Becky? Do the butt drop off the top. That's how you have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. There were like 2 or 3 times where she couldn't break through the table.
So Asuka and Kairi Sane won. Asuka retrieving the belts. So this is my issue, man, with Asuka. They've rebuilt her dominance, right? With Kairi, they've given her the mist. She's gotten these victories. She's got her mojo back in her winning streak. And then she doesn't even get a chance to celebrate. Her music hits, and out comes this stupid backstage brawl with Roman and Corbin, which we only see on TV for like 20 seconds, just enough for Corbin to spear, or for Roman to spear Corbin, and then we go off the air.
Okay, at first I didn't agree, but the way you just said it right now is because I was kind of surprised that it ended that way.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, they give the moment to Roman at the end. What the freak? Like, you just beat Becky Lynch. Okay, granted, you didn't pin her, but Becky Lynch just lost the match. Your champion just lost the match, no less. And this is supposed to be a crowning achievement, another level lifted higher for the Kabuki Warriors. Why would you not send it off with them?
Yeah.
I would have had Asuka do something dastardly to Becky to win at the end. So that sets up Becky and Asuka. It sets up a challenger for Becky. And
why couldn't she just go crazy with a kendo stick and just start friggin', as soon as Roman Reigns gets up, smash him over the head with it?
Yeah.
She should have green misted Baron Corbin. That would have been a good way to go off there.
There's your green mist, bro.
This is back to the perception, right? When you see this kind of an angle being done, they would not do this at the end of a Brock Lesnar match or an Undertaker match, right?
No, I agree.
And so it just shows that it's not at that level.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. But strong enough to close the show, they felt, as far as the last match.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I feel like they should not have had that stupid brawl come out as soon as it's so contrived. It comes out as soon as the match ends.
It looked like a clown car.
Yeah. It was goofy.
It was goofy.
It's a notch above the 24/7 conga line.
Yes. That's the feeling I had. In fact, that's who I thought everybody was. So I was Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
I don't get it, man. So that was.
Someone says you're looking dashing tonight.
Oh, well, thank you.
All right. Well, thanks for the
Klein
donation.
zip-up. I appreciate when people toss money at me to tell me how good I look. You know?
Thank you, Mrs. Rubenstein. You're very nice.
Jesus, Mrs. Rubenstein. Actually, Mrs. Rubenstein's not even my mom. My mom uses her maiden name. Jeez, Mrs. Rubenstein just sounds so old all of a sudden.
I know.
Yeah, I don't think anyone has ever called my wife that, except maybe at the bank. Anyhow, so that was TLC 2019 tonight. Yep.
There's some good oomph there, Glenn.
I mean, the Bray stuff. Okay, I'm very excited where we're going because the Royal Rumble's next. They were hyping it up tonight. Everything right now is about. I mean, the build starts. I know we've got the holiday coming up. Yes, but the seeds were planted tonight. So we got Bray versus Daniel Bryan, but it's going to be a new version, not what we saw last time.
With the holiday coming, I'm worried. We're going to get corny stuff. They could get away with some decent backstage Bray stuff. That doesn't take much of anything to do, right? That's basic stuff. They don't need to have a giveaway match or anything like that over the holidays.
If they dress up Bray like Santa.
But that can kind of work, though, in a weird way.
In a crazy version?
Like a crazy Santa?
The Fiend with the Santa costume.
No, you can't do it with the Fiend. The Fiend cannot.
That beard touches the Fiend's face, it's over. Yeah. It's over. I'm talking freaking, what's his name? Walk through the wall and falling down.
That's putting the gold wig on Goldberg.
Shockmaster?
Shockmaster, yes.
Muscle Man Santa. There we go.
All right.
So what else we got? Any news stories? Anything else?
So you guys were on Friday. We were talking a little bit about the drug testing. Bobby Roode last week and Primo. There were two, Primo Cologne. So that rumor that people purposely doing it, that applied to Primo, not Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode's not trying to get out of his contract or anything. But there have been rumors that Primo and Epico want to go back to Puerto Rico. They've been wrestling for their dad's promotion. They want to release. And I know you guys mentioned pot. You don't get a wellness violation for pot. You do get a $2,500 fine. So on Ryback's podcast, we were talking we went really in depth on how the drug testing works in WWE, and so basically it's several times a year. It's not every week. It's like 4 or 5 times a month, and so they have a doctor who goes there, watches you pee. There you go. With women, they have a women doctor who's there with them.
So they did it when I was even with Impact. You had to pull down full. They're watching you with your gimmick inside the cup pissing.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, did they tell you how that happened and why that happened?
In TNA or
in general, in drug testing in general with wrestling?
Well, at first it was after the Chris Benoit stuff, right?
Yeah, well, that's originally why the steroids. Yeah, Senator Henry Waxman basically got it mandated, but no. Actually, if you're a guy and they got
they'd use the prosthetic penises, right?
Yes,
and they'd buy someone's urine or trade it.
Use the fake one. It'd come with fake urine too. It's like powder, and it would somehow go into. I never understood how it worked, but supposedly it worked that way. But that's why they started. Because I remember one. I was like, "Why do you have to be in here? This is weird, dude."
Right.
I remember saying that, and I was like, "Sorry, man, it's part of the protocol." And then found out the guy in NXT or FCW, I believe it was at the time, somebody in developmental screwed all this up for everybody by having a different colored prosthetic, you know what, than what his skin. I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
So it was like I'm not joking. It was a guy. I forget his ethnic background, but was using a pale as bleep prosthetic, you know what, and the doctor's like, and I'm dead serious, and that's what started giving away, and that's when word got out that some of these guys were using fake gimmicks.
Yeah, I mean, Luger had talked about, because WWF used to test really hardcore after the steroid trial in from 92 to, and that's when all the superstars were gone. Road Warriors, Warrior, Bulldog, all these big jacked up guys were soon gone from the promotion. But that's how Luger was able to beat the tests, and he had said in interviews he would use that prosthetic, replacing the urine. So yeah,
it's crazy. It's so crazy. But so someone like me, I was the next all of a sudden out of left field, the guy's in there with me. I was like, this is really weird. What's going on here?
Right. Yeah, and so it's only for contracted, full-time talent. So like a Brock Lesnar or Triple H, Vince McMahon, they don't get tested, obviously.
Expensive tests. That's another reason why.
Yeah, and if you're not there, they will have you go to a lab and take the test. So
what did he say about GH?
So you can get, so they have TUEs for TRT, but that's pretty much it. Everything else, GH goes quickly, right? But I think they do have tests now that can.
They used to not be able to have it, and my whole thing was like, well, there's probably still dudes going to be cheating, because I was looking forward to that when they took steroids out of wrestling, because for me that was going to be my advantage, because I'm natural, I'm healthy, I don't have to take that crap, and so for someone my size, it helps me. Like it did Kevin Nash, if you guys remember.
Right.
Ball is always going to be tall.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. GH goes out of your system pretty fast, right? So you have to like catch it within. I'm forgetting what it is. There's one of those drugs that used to they used to not have a test for it because it just went so quickly, but I think they do now. And then prescription drugs. Roman Reigns, when he failed that drug test, I remember a lot of people were assuming it was steroids, but it was Adderall.
Yeah.
And so prescription drugs.
Do we know what happened with Bobby?
No.
Yeah. So with the rumors that Primo, are Primo and Epicos traveling, or are they still showing up for TV every week?
I don't know exactly what happened in their case, but if you're, so it's I believe it's a random list that they have. It's not everyone gets tested.
Right.
So if your name is on there and you're not there, they have you go to, a clinic or whatever. So if he wasn't at TV, they would have had him go.
And if you fail, they'll come to your house.
Right. Yeah, and they could come to your house to do the test.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of your contract. You agree to that.
Yeah.
But they're in Puerto Rico, so they would have to find,
Oh yeah.
Unless they flew back for whatever reason, but yeah.
That's interesting that I say that, Raj. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
Last thing, Chris Jericho held a backstage meeting. He talked about it on Conan's podcast. He said the stuff in the tag team wrestling stuff in AEW had been driving him crazy, with people not tagging in and out and being able to just stay in the ring forever. That had been driving me crazy too. That there's no rules, pretty much, that you can do whatever you want. He said he held a meeting, specifically talked, to the Lucha Brothers about, needing to tag in and out, use the tag rope, and they're going to be doing it. So Chris Jericho is just so invaluable to that promotion.
Oh my God, I was just thinking the same exact thing. I was thinking the same damn thing.
Yeah.
And if these guys are smart, drop their freaking ego. It's Chris Jericho, P.S. And, it's like when I got to SmackDown, like The Rock having like a locker room, meeting like that and trying to help some of the younger guys out. You'd be an idiot.
Right.
Not shut your mouth and listen.
Yeah, because Jericho's not even in the tag. It's not like he's trying to
get anything out of it.
Right, exactly. He's just trying to help everyone else out and help the product.
You know what would be even better, though, is if they build upon this and have Jericho on Dynamite do the Festivus airing of grievances, and Jericho just gets there and criticizes everyone in AEW. Like a TV version of this would be gold.
Jericho could pull it off.
This is what's good about having veterans in the business, honestly. Good ones that actually really are trying, not like haters, that get all bit and whatnot, but guys that actually want to help others improve.
Right.
They're lucky to have him for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I was just thinking of that for some reason. On the New Days podcast, I think it was Xavier Woods that was saying that the writers were saying every time someone pitches a character, doesn't matter if you're a veteran or rookie, every storyline, every angle ends with, and that's when I win the title. It's always the same thing.
Like Bob Holly, you heard that
Bob Holly, he was like that, right? Like his was always, wasn't he always just suggesting like he beats everyone?
Yes. Yes, but not even like a drawn out storyline. Matter of fact, like when you put the strap on me.
Right, like so after I beat Taker, you build me up to WrestleMania, then I win the title.
You're a champion.
All right, I'll be over.
I'll post that Jericho and Conan O'Brien's podcast, which is very good. I've listened to it before. It's quite enjoyable.
Wait, what?
You said Jericho's on Conan's podcast?
No, Conan.
Conan O'Brien.
Oh, wait, what is Jericho doing on Conan, the wrestler's pod? I mean, like, no offense to Conan. I think we buy ad spots on that episode, but it's like, that's kind of a low rent podcast. No, again,
I
Conan,
do it. I can't listen to Disco though. He annoys the living hell out of me.
I mean,
Conan and Jericho are good friends, and Jericho was trying to start a podcast network. He had Conan as one of his podcasts on there.
K-Dog does a good job, actually.
Jericho should be on Conan O'Brien's podcast because it's a Turner podcast,
Well,
like synergy, the whole thing. Like, but really,
does Conan have a podcast?
Yeah, Conan O'Brien. Yeah, Conan O'Brien needs a friend. It's actually a very good podcast.
Yeah, I need to check that out. I love Conan.
I used to.
Yeah, same here. That's that perception thing again. Once he was dropped from NBC and was TBS, I never watched him again, even though I still like him.
Yeah.
It's just once you're perceived as minor league, it overall numbers drop.
True. In fact, part of the reason his talk show went back to half an hour is because now he's doing more podcast and web content. So.
Oh, that's cool. I'll check that out.
Yeah. Excellent, guys. So he's at BP Matt Morgan. He's at Raj Giri _303. I'm at Glenn Rubenstein. And tomorrow night, in 24 hours, we're going to do this all again to talk about Monday Night Raw, the fallout from TLC 2019.
And yeah, we're entering the holiday season, so it's going to be, in theory, there's not going to be much going on, but we'll see. until the new year, until football season's over here in a couple of weeks.
And thanks everyone for tuning in live tonight. Amazing live audience came out for this. If you like the podcast, subscribe, rate us on iTunes, etc., etc. You know the drill. And we'll see you back here tomorrow on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.
Make that Glenn meme.